Eli, I'll ask you again. What do you got at 8?
Yeah. So speaking of players that I've seen play, players that I think everyone who's a soccer fan in this world has seen play. I originally did not have this person in my top 10 just because of the name factor. I thought, for an expansion team coming into the league, bringing in a name like this is good for, jersey sales and stuff. So I tried not to put too many of those guys in if they brought some sort of value, but I went with Andrea Pirlo of NYCFC. I think of the three major names that NYCFC brought with Villa, Lampard, and Pirlo, I think Pirlo was the worst. I think he did not fit into MLS whatsoever. And, I got roasted the other day for, being worried about Sergio Busquets coming into the league. And I think of Pirlo as a guy as to why I'm worried about Busquets coming into the league. But maybe I hope Busquets proves me wrong because I loved him at Barca. But I went with Pirlo. I just think his type of game is just not for MLS, and that's just the harsh reality. And he was definitely not good for NYC. And I'm sure as a Red Bull fan, you're fine with me putting him on this.
I was about to say the only gripe I have is you didn't put him higher.
Okay,
but I will say I will say I am proud of myself. I did not take unnecessary shots at New York City players this year. I was respectful. I was good, and I stayed away from them, even though I probably should have put one on there. But I stayed away from them. I was trying to be respectful. But I know Connor's probably got all Orlando City players because he's an Atlanta fan, and I bet he's got one of
enough list to put on there. I think I have. Actually, do I have an Orlando player?
I don't think I do.
I don't, but I had a few on that I looked at. But
well, joke's on you, Andrew. Orlando's too irrelevant for me to put any of their DPs on here.
Clip it.
That's great.
Except right now. Now they're actually okay. But I can do my number 8 now if you want.
That is what. Yeah, that's more than okay.
All right. I'm gonna throw it back to a name that was mentioned earlier in the show, and a phenomenal name at that, might I add. So it's almost such a good name that I didn't want to put it on my list. But I'm going with Innocent Emagara at number 8.
My boy.
Came over, played for San Jose from 2015, 2016, 13 appearances, 611 minutes, 1 goal, 0 assists for an attacker. I think it was a free transfer, which definitely helped bump him down my list a little bit, but really poor attacking returns for someone that you bring in as a DP attacker.
Can I tell you the sole purpose why I didn't put him on my list?
Yeah.
Is a very niche reason. But I remember when he came to San Jose in FIFA 16, his card was cracked. I mean, he had the best FIFA card ever. He had 94 pace. It was just so fun to play with him. I didn't even care how bad he was on the field. And obviously he was atrocious, but because of his name and because of that FIFA card, I know FIFA doesn't equate to real life, and he's a great example of that. But that's why I didn't put him on. But Innocent Emigara, legend in my mind, for the worst reasons, but legend.
I withhold judgment for now.
Okay, spoilers.
No, I won't tell you where he is, but I will give you my number 8 if that's what you'd like, Connor.
No, I wouldn't like it, but I guess we kind of have to.
See, I think you would like it because you're going to get to laugh at me.
Oh, boy.
At number 8, I've gone with a recent one that I was very excited to come into the league just last year. It would not be on Eli's list because he did not last very long. A certain Mexican center back, not one that we'll be talking about later, but one that I had picked as newcomer of the year, defensive player of the year, basically every single new or defensive award that there could have been, I picked Carlos Salcedo for in his first year. Yeah, not great on my part, but we have in the podcast found that we are the curse givers. So anybody that we mentioned might be semi-decent, career over. Kip Keller, I said was going to be a top 10 center back this year. He hasn't played since week 1 after giving the ball away to St. Louis. Yeah. Orlando, I picked number 1. Red Bull, I picked number 2. We can see how that's working. We're just not great at it. But anyways, yeah, I basically picked him as a guy to solve the world's problems for TFC at center back. He commanded a salary that was the top 13% of all players in my analyzed list, just to play 16 games, pick up 5 yellows, 1 straight red, get 1 clean sheet against a Canadian Soccer League side, and then ship 28 goals. Went home, homesick, missing family, didn't want to play in the United States, contract mutually terminated, bust on both ends. Sorry.
Yeah, so Salcedo, obviously because he played for 1 year as a designated player, I didn't put him on my list, but also I knew that wasn't going to work out. I know I don't want to be like, oh, I am such a saint, but like, first of all, I'm not too high on using DP spots on center backs unless they are, already like the best. Like I might give Miles Robinson a designated player spot for Atlanta, but that's because he has been so excellent for them. They got to earn that designated player spot, but with Salcedo, it's like I knew he was like a bench player at Tigres, so I wasn't, too fond of him coming back to the league as a designated player. But yeah, it was very unfortunate because, Toronto still is dealing with center back issues even after bringing Matt Hedges in. But
yeah, they're just a nightmare. We've talked about Bob Bradley earlier. We don't need to dive into it. I think everybody's got a similar thought about him right now. But yeah, that whole team needs a rebrand top to bottom.